What's up, everybody? It's me, Doc Fortune, and I'm here playing some more TF2 just so I can zone out and talk and bullshit about things. This week, I have argued with a lot of people in comment sections. I usually just say my opinion, but my opinion is often a hot take. And when you have hot takes for opinions, everybody wants to argue with you, and I'm not interested in it. So we're going to try to steer away from that. And we're going to try to go. I'm unchecking maps that I don't like because of how they play. It's anything where it's easy to just build up a base and turtle up and stall the game. I uncheck that shit. Like, really, I ought to uncheck well, but I'm nostalgic for it because it's a classic. It's one of the original maps, but we never get it anyway. Nobody's ever playing well. If we get it, I'll eat crow. We're going to see. Hmm. Sometimes I might need to go back in and check attack and defense. I missed some of those maps. There was a lot of classics as well, but if you've watched any of the other TF2 dailies that I make, I like to play Scout a lot, so I pick matches that allow me to be kind of effective at Scout, and control points and King of the Hill are kind of the most fluid. There's a lot of back and forth, and it's really hard for an engineer to just dig in and lock the game down with all of his stupid bullshit. So you can it's more of a skill matchup, I feel, just personally, and I like it more. It feels more quick and fun. Die a whole lot, but yep, I'm lagging, so forgive me on that. I will try to minimize that as much as possible. Sometimes it takes a second for TF2 to stabilize for me. It plays really shitty at first in the stream. Only when I'm streaming, but then it almost always evens out at some point. So I'll do the best I can, and if you just bear with me, I'll try to give you some good matches. Oh shit, I'm getting shot by a sentry gun. So this is what I mean about the engineers kind of locking things down. For a scout, if you don't have a spy or a medic with somebody that they're, pocketing so that they can give them Uber charges to take down those guns, they really fuck you up as a scout, and it's hard. You need to be left alone to aim in a weird crouch position to be able to take them out, and there's always somebody messing with you. You're never just left alone in that perfect position. So somebody got that gun already. We're just gonna try. We're gonna try to cap, but the demo's gonna blow his bombs as soon as he sees us capping. I keep getting chased by a pyro. I tried to get away, but I can't. Some of the things that I'm looking forward to that are coming out, instead of just bitching and crying about all the things that I hate, there's a G.I. Joe movie in production, or in the first stages of production, by Danny McBride, and I'm super excited about it. Danny McBride has made several things that are great. I think Vice Principals is some of the best television I've ever seen. Just personally, I like it a whole lot. It's among my favorite shows. His other shows are great, but especially Vice Principals for me was great. So I'm so excited that he's making a G.I. Joe movie, and because he's a fan. He loves G.I. Joe. He said in an interview that I watched that G.I. Joe was his favorite thing as a kid. He liked it more than Star Wars. He liked it more than anything else. And that's what I want. That's what I want in somebody making a movie. Somebody who actually gives a shit. Somebody who loves the thing that they're working on and isn't embarrassed of it, and who knows what's good about it, and who's going to give us the best version of it that we could hope for. So I'm super excited for Danny McBride working on the G.I. Joe movie. The things that we know about it so far is that Walton Goggins is going to be somebody in the movie. So, we lost. We don't know who he's going to be, but he's in it. Walton Goggins is in it. I love Walton Goggins. I've heard that either Bradley Cooper is going to be Duke or he's rumored to be Duke. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. Um, the story, Danny McBride. Somebody's trying to kick me for some stupid reason. I don't know why, but they tried to kick me for some reason. People will randomly do that in TF2. Well, we're capping, so they can suck it. Oingo Boingo. That was a Danny Elfman band, I think, right? Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, all the Simpsons, all the Tim Burton movies. Oingo Boingo. That was his band. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maybe that's why they're trying to kick me, because it's so choppy and laggy, but I'm helping. Bizarro, I'm helping. Danny McBride has said it's going to be about a story arc from the G.I. Joe comics written by Larry Hama. So the fact that he knows who Larry Hama is and pays a massive amount of respect to him, that's great for me. I'm super thrilled to have somebody working on G.I. Joe who has that mentality and that opinion. Sorry, I got super into the game for a second there. I think because somebody randomly tried to vote kick me. Sometimes people just do it just to be fucking weird. They're just TF2 is a very memey game. Uh, People like to meme and bullshit and stand around and taunt and vote kick people for no reason. I mean, there's no really, like, you can say slurs. Your name can be a slur. Like, just because it's an old game from back when they didn't really regulate that kind of thing. It just wasn't like back in the day. All these games used to have this disclaimer that said online interactions are not rated by the ESRB, which basically means like the people who rate the game aren't responsible for the crap that the other players say to each other in the game. And that was their way of just getting out of liability of having to deal with it. And TF2 has been around since those days. So I don't know if it's just grandfathered in or the player base doesn't care or Valve doesn't care, but they're not putting anything into moderating that whatsoever. So it's just this wild west of weird, nerdy, like early internet 2000s behavior. It's always been that way. I'm sorry to say, you just gotta roll with it. If you're gonna play this free game that's 20 years old, you just gotta have to roll with it. So, yeah, I'm super excited for G.I. Joe. I think Danny McBride is great to be in charge of it based on the things that he said and the movies and shows that he's made. I think Walton Goggins is a hilarious actor, and I'm always excited to see him in anything. So no matter who Walton Goggins plays in this G.I. Joe movie, I know I'm going to enjoy it. I think Bradley Cooper's a good actor. I don't have any major problems with him, and I feel like he's been good in other things that I've seen. So if he ends up being in the movie, I'm totally down for that. Um, it's hard for me to say, like, kind of who my dream cast would be or what I would want because we're going to get modern actors, and all my favorite actors are like 30 years in the past, or they're too old to be in it. Maybe like in their glory days, they could have been in the movie, but now a lot of them are too old or past their prime. So I wouldn't be surprised to see any of the people that you see in current modern day films. And I have no problem with that as long as the movie isn't made about their stupid politics. Like, there's tons of people who are fine actors that I disagree with. I just don't want them having to put their 2 cents in. Like, do the job and be the characters in the movie as they would be portrayed faithfully to their source, and I will be happy with you no matter who you are or what you look like. G.I. Joe has always been a very diverse, multicultural show from the beginning. It was ahead of its time, so there's no way they can mess it up with stunt casting or any of that stuff. All the great characters have, representation amongst a wide variety of people from different cultures and backgrounds, and they're all shown in the most heroic light possible as long as they're one of the Joes. And if they're Cobra, they're, weaselly, slimy, backstabbing, two-timing, might makes right. They're completely pragmatic in their desire to just take over the fucking world. They just 100% believe that they're the most fit to do it, and they're going to do it by whatever means possible. Um, but they're always constantly trying to one up each other, and that's what usually foils Cobra's plans. Destro has something going on the side, or Tomax and Zammot decide that they want to take over, that they're the ones going to be in charge now, or Cobra Commander gets captured, but Zartan has to rescue him. There's all these kind of things. I'm actually more interested in Cobra than I am in G.I. Joe. They're just more interesting to me because they remind me of the fucking terrible people that I grew up with. So I've watched people behave like Cobra all my life, and I'm like, yeah, I know these guys. I grew up with these guys. G.I. Joe, I'm looking forward to. What else? Oh, look, we got well. I talked a bunch of shit about how we never get well, and here we are. Let's try our best to be a good scout. Ooh, mission ends in 10 seconds. It's not looking good. Well, they're going to cap. Okay, there we go. So normally that would be kind of depressing, but we got to actually play a little bit instead of just losing immediately or getting a stalemate as soon as the game started. What are some other things that I'm looking forward to? There's a movie with Adam Scott that I want to see called Hokum. It doesn't look super deep, but it does look spooky, and I love Adam Scott. He's really good in everything I've ever seen him in. So I'm always willing to give it a shot in situations like that. Haven't seen it yet, though. Ooh, I got bad guys all around me. I had never had a chance. What else? It's hard. I have to look for things, really. I have to dig for it. Honestly, like, I feel like I'm borderline out of love with superheroes. Like, people that hate me as a fan have gotten a hold of all the things that gave me inspiration and that helped me build characters. when I was a young person. I got a lot from superheroes. God damn, now I gotta deal with this guy. Especially Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman, the big three. I I don't think it's any coincidence that they're always counted as basically among the superheroes that actually matter or count. Like everybody else is kind of like ancillary to Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. They are kind of the holy trinity of comic book characters. And so they taught me good morals, lessons, and values. Spider-Man, responsibility. Superman taught me you should be altruistic and use your powers for good. Batman taught me that, you know, being just a human being is not an excuse to not do good. So these characters always mattered to me for those reasons. And I feel like none of this shit is about that anymore. And I'm really upset with it. I really want the younger generation to have something good that they can use as a compass to help them when they're faced with hard moral decisions in life. And it's just about this dumbest shit ever now. It's really just fucking slop. So I get upset with the state of things because I felt that they were really valuable pieces of American culture that have been extremely devalued. I take it personally because I loved them. So I have a lot of hope for DC. I don't have any hope for Marvel. DC doesn't have the money to piss away on losing over and over again to advance an ideological message. DC doesn't have that money. They have to make hits. They have to win. They have to gain prestige and build confidence in their brand because they don't have the financial backing from investors like State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Disney has those investors. Those investment companies make more money than all the other countries in the world besides the United States and China. That's how much money they have. So they can throw away money on losing as long as they push a message that they care about. And so the things that like taught me how to be a good person aren't about that anymore. They're about the message of a company, of a corporation. But DC doesn't have that. They have to make good stuff that people want. And when I was a kid, I think Warner Brothers, as a studio, gave Disney a run for their money as the number one studio. They were true competitors. The Looney Tunes were true competitors to Mickey Mouse and Donald and all that. They were good characters. Like Bugs Bunny is probably the best cartoon character of all time. And the only one who gives him a run for his money is Donald Duck in terms of cultural significance. So Donald and Bugs are right there neck and neck for the best cartoon characters of all time. And WB used to sort of be that. Batman the Animated Series won Emmys. It was among the best TV shows ever made, and everybody knew it. It went from being an afternoon cartoon show to being a Sunday night prime time, like after The Simpsons kind of special event that you would sit down and watch with your family because it was that good. And I think it can be that again. I just don't know if it will be. If you don't know anything about what's going on with WB and the state of things, WB got bought by AT&T, I think, originally. And that was during the Snyder times. The times that Zack Snyder was like basically creatively in control, and the movies kept failing and the fans kept getting upset, and AT&T as a company was like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know. We're a phone company. We don't know how to run a movie studio. So they brought in Discovery as a partner, right? They sold some of their shares in the company to Discovery so that they could get David Zaslav. And David Zaslav was a guy who turned Discovery around from being this sort of failing cable network to being a like kind of must-see TV for some people. He built this app. He he made it to where you had to use the app to see all of the programs if you really liked it, and they basically just they banked on high quality reality style programs that weren't trashy but just interesting, like American Pickers and shit like that. People watch shit like that all the time, but it's not as trashy as the exploitative things that built reality television, right? At least it's kind of pseudo informative. So whatever you think about it, it's better. It's better than it could be, right? So that's what Zaslav did. He turned Discovery around, and he was known for being this guy that could sort of do that. He could sort of listen to what people wanted and make the right calls, and he could sort of set things up for success. And the plan for AT&T or whoever is going to be in charge when this settles out. I don't know if AT&T is even involved anymore, or if they're even the same company. Maybe they've merged and turned into something else. The idea was always to build it up and sell it off. So whatever you think of James Gunn now, James Gunn was considered to be one of the only sure and proven successes at Disney. Like, there was a lot of Disney stuff. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, and some of it's just the worst shit ever made, right? But James Gunn was pretty good, and everybody, even his, maybe people who don't enjoy it that much, James Gunn, even they had to admit that Guardians was successful. So he seemed like the sure thing when Disney kicked him out for some 10-year-old or 15-year-old comment that he made on Twitter when he was a shock jock or something. Somebody dug that up and tried to cancel him over it. Disney fired him, and then the cast of Guardians basically mutinied on Disney and said, if James Gunn's not involved, we're not making the movie. So during that time that he was fired, David Zaslav scooped him up and hired him and offered him a job to be the complete creative control of the DCU going forward in the new shit. And he basically made him an offer he couldn't refuse. Why would you go be a bitch at a place that fired you when you could be the president of this new thing and just make it as good as you made Guardians? That was basically what David Zaslav was thinking. And he was like, once we get this bitch good, we're selling it and we're getting the fuck out of this. That was always the plan. Okay? So I'm just catching you up in case you don't understand what's going on. So now things are weird because James Gunn has not been successful. You just have to face that. He hasn't been successful. I rooted for him because I hated the Snyderverse. I hated it because I felt like it was a disrespectful, dark, alternate universe take on the characters, and it didn't understand them. Zack Snyder doesn't understand Superman or Batman. He doesn't understand heroism. He has a really weird, twisted view on it, and he puts that in the movies, and I don't like it. It's not what Batman or Superman or even Wonder Woman are, although I will give you Wonder Woman was the best of what he did. She was great in that first movie. She was great. Can't deny Gal. She was beautiful, and she was exactly what you needed in a Wonder Woman. So I needed to see that shit go away. So I was pulling for James Gunn. I wanted him to win. And I really, really, really wanted to like Superman 2025. I went to see it in the theater. I was so sure it was going to be good. And I bought it as soon as I got home or whatever, as soon as it was available on Amazon. I spent $25 and I bought it just to show my support for it. But even I had mixed feelings right away for Superman 2025. I had leaned so hard into being a supporter of this new initiative that I felt cornered in a way to defending it, even though it had major things that I didn't like. And so I had to admit that those things aren't good. And then things just kept getting worse. And that's not where I want to be as a fan. Things kept getting worse. It didn't keep getting better. They kept saying stupid shit in the media and doubling down on mistakes and just doing wild out of the box things that only like James Gunn's making movies for himself. He's not building a DC universe the way it needs to be built in order to make it widely successful. You know what I mean? He's like doing his own thing because they gave him the keys to the kingdom. And I think James Gunn is probably a fantastic filmmaker when he's on rails. He needs somebody in charge to tell him what they want, and then when he tries to make what they want, he fucking nails it, right? Because he did it with Guardians, and I don't think you can deny that. I liked Guardians 1 a whole lot, and Guardians 2 was okay, but I had problems with it, and I didn't see Guardians 3 because I was done with Disney by that point. I was just done with them. Like, they're frustrating to be a fan of, and I love Disney. I was always, my whole life, probably some of the things, for better or worse, that have been the most influential on me have been Pinocchio and the early 1930s Disney animations. So I know Disney is a problematic dude, but I have tended to be apologetic for him in the past. Just because I like him. I'm going to be honest, it's based around nothing but the value that he added to my life as a child. So I don't have any hope for them because they don't have anybody in their company that has a will to make things good. They need it to be something besides good. They need it to like conquer an evil or defeat a chud or to own somebody that they disagree with. And it's like, I wish we could just have something that was good about heroism that gave people the psychic inspiration that they need to face the difficulties in their daily life so that they can be heroes in their own life, because that's all we fucking have. That's all we have is to just try to be as noble and good and heroic in whatever we're doing in our daily life as possible, because what else can you do? I mean, the world falls apart if you don't, and being nice and kind and good doesn't cost you that much, and it makes other people's days immeasurably better and easier, and then everybody has a better life. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I got off on a tangent, so forgive me. We need those kinds of stories, I think, is what I was getting into. And I feel like I used to have them as a kid, and I don't know what people have nowadays because the things that I'm seeing just pale in comparison to how it used to be. It's hard when you remember, like, every person who gets older kind of goes through this rose colored, backwards glancing, nostalgic golden age mentality. But you have to understand that some things really were just better. And we were there for it. And now we see what's here today. And like, I feel responsible in a way for not making anything good myself. Like, I have some things on my channel that I put a lot of work into, and I'm proud of the amount of work that I put into, but I'm never happy with anything that I make art wise because I always feel like I could have done better. And in some ways, I feel guilty and ashamed that I haven't done anything better for people or for young people. And so that's for us old fans, that's what's behind our anger. That's what's behind our upset. Like the level that we're upset about this shit that just seems like childish crap for babies. Like, it's not disposable entertainment for us necessarily. It helped me build character as a person. And I want the things that young people have today to also help them build character as people. And I feel like the corporations have turned everything into just a marketing campaign for whatever who owns that corporation, whatever their politics are, whatever their beliefs are, whatever their ideals are. Now they're using all my shit as a commercial for those things to try and sell it to me. And it's like, just fucking make it about what it was about, okay? The people who created it already had the right idea and they made it good. And that's why it has all these fans built in. And you, as Disney, for example, paid $400 billion or some shit like that for Marvel. And then George Lucas wanted to one up them, so they had to pay him $440 billion for Star Wars, and they have not made that money back. So what are you doing, man? You're just fucking throwing it away? Like, please make it good. I'm begging you as a fan, but I don't think they will. I have no hope or faith in Disney, just because of the political forces that are invested in them. I think WB and DC Comics has a chance. I'll admit that I've always been a DC fan. Um, I love Superman. I love Batman. But I also love Spider-Man, and I also love a bunch of things in Marvel that Jack Kirby created. Some of my favorite people who ever lived, Steve Ditko and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. People like Jerry Conway and I'm trying to think, Chuck Dixon is a great writer as well. More modern writers that I loved were Grant Morrison, Warren Ellis, um, Ed Brubaker, fantastic writer. 100 Bullets is one of my favorite comics of all time. Um, Brian Azzarello is 100 Bullets. Sorry, I mixed him up with Ed Brubaker, but Ed Brubaker did Criminal. He wrote, Ed Brubaker basically wrote the Captain Marvel that, not Captain Marvel, the Captain America that you see in the MCU. That's Ed Brubaker's Captain America, basically. All the stuff with the Winter Soldier and shit, he invented that character. And Ed Brubaker was already well known for being a fantastic crime author in indie comics. So he didn't fucking need Captain America to make him famous, but he came to Captain America and he made it better than it was when he left it. And so that's the era of comics. Mark Miller's fantastically successful on his own now, independent of the big companies. He has his own shit. Kick Ass, if you've ever seen and wanted, is based off of his comics, although it's nothing like the comics. I liked Alan Moore. Alan Moore's kind of stupid now, but Mark Waid is the same. I loved Mark Waid's work. Mark Waid has written some of the best comics of all time, even if he's fucking insane now. It doesn't take away the good things that he did. So I love Mark Waid. I'm trying to think of who else. I followed writers mostly, so I liked, in the peak of my comics buying time was probably the year 2000 to the year 2012, let's say, just to be generous. And during that time, I had a pull list at a local comic book store. I always supported my local comic book store, and I spent about $80 a month. I bought indie comics. I bought trades. I bought both Marvel and DC. I bought every single issue of the New Avengers run with the art by Mike Deodato, and it was written by Brian Michael Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis was great back in the day. He's insane now, just like everybody else on the left, but he was great. He was great. He wrote some great comics, and he's created a controversial figure for me, Miles Morales, who I don't hate. I think Into the Spider-Verse was the best he's ever been done. So lean into that if you want people to like Miles Morales, okay? Because he was the most likable and the most charismatic and the most sympathetic he's ever been in that film series. But he's controversial for me because he was deliberately created by Brian Michael Bendis to replace Peter Parker. And Marvel wouldn't let him do it, so he did it in Ultimate Comics. He did it in the Ultimate Spider-Man line. He killed Peter Parker, the actual real Spider-Man, so that his creation, Miles Morales, could replace him. And the book was canceled shortly after that because people didn't want to read that story. And they keep trying to make Miles Morales happen in the comics, and he keeps having series that nobody buys, and they get canceled after 12 issues, and everybody has to pretend to keep liking him because he's, you know. So I really did like him in Into the Spider-Verse, and I found him to be affable and charming. The animation looked good, the story was good, and the main thing that won me over in the first Into the Spider-Verse movie was that they didn't make Peter Parker a stupid bitch. Peter Parker was the Spider-Man we all know and love, the real Spider-Man, the amazing Spider-Man. And it was the real one, and they went way out of their fucking way to tell you that he is the real fucking Spider-Man, okay? So that's all I want. I love Miles Morales as this character in Spider-Man's life, and if he has his own series and his own villains like Batman Beyond, but for Spider-Man, I'm there for that, dude. I'm there for that. Give me that. The Miles that is the Prowler in the other universe that they teased at the end of the second movie, spoilers, that to me is... So, the Prowler is one of my favorite characters of all time from comics. I love his design when he's green and purple. I always loved him. I always loved his action figures. I had the Prowler action figure when I was a kid. And when he showed up in the 94, right? 94 or 97, I'm sorry, I don't remember the year, but the 90s Spider-Man series, when he showed up in that, I loved it. I loved the Prowler. So to see the Prowler and Into the Spider-Verse was excellent. Like, I really felt that they made that character great and that they did the Prowler justice. That's one thing that really endears me to Into the Spider-Verse as a film. I love the Prowler. He was scary and he was cool, and they fucking put respect on his name, right? So the Miles that is the Prowler is more interesting to me than the Miles that is Spider-Man. And I would much rather see that than have Miles just try to be this perpetual pseudo replacement for Peter Parker that they always try to push, but nobody ever really accepts it because Peter Parker is the real Spider-Man and he's always going to be the real Spider-Man. But Miles as the Prowler is a very compelling character to me, and I want to see that universe. If they lean into that, or if they made a comic of that, I would probably buy every issue of it until it was canceled, just because I like the idea of it so much. So that's all I can say about it. I'm biased. I love Spider-Man. He's one of the greatest all-time characters. I do not believe that these characters are mantles. Spider-Man is not a mantle that you pass on to somebody. There's one Spider-Man and his name's Peter Parker. Captain America is not a mantle. He's not, it's not a title or a rank in any army or military or any of that shit. He works for S.H.I.E.L.D. sometime. He was a secret project for, the Allies against the Nazis, and then he went in the ice. So he's not shit. He's a guy named Captain America, and it's Steve Rogers, and he's great. He's one of my favorite fucking characters of all time. I love Captain America. So don't mess with him. It's simple. Don't fix what ain't broke. I love Falcon. Falcon, as a fan of the Captain America comics, has always been one of my favorite characters. And Anthony Mackie played him excellently. And now he's cornered into this shit where he has to constantly be like, I'm Captain America now. Nope, it's me. But nobody thinks of him as Captain America. Chris Evans is fucking Steve Rogers in the movies, and that's who everybody thinks of as the real Captain America, no matter how you feel about it. So they did Anthony Mackie dirty by putting him in this situation where he has to say and do this shit to save face, right? They put him in this situation where he has to lean into this and double and triple down, because otherwise it's going to make him look like a chump. Like he got he was the black man who got the Captain America role taken away from him. So they painted themselves in a corner by trying to take a position. Do you see what I'm saying? And now it's harmed for everybody. We all have to fucking dance around it, and it's this elephant in the room, and we have to pretend like we're okay with it, but it's not that great. It's not that great. It's not really working that great. Henry Cavill Warhammer. Going back to the original premise of this, which always, I'm sorry, I'm a complainer. It always devolves into complaining. I tried to say good things about Into the Spider-Verse. I genuinely did like the first one. The second one was okay, but not as good as the first one. It's just my real thoughts. Spider-Man 2099 was awesome, though, in that movie. He fucking ruled. Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099 was my favorite. One of my favorites. Not my favorite. But I loved Spider-Man, so I have a lot of favorite Spider-Man characters. He was cool, and I bought his comics, and I liked him. I didn't care that he wasn't Peter Parker. I accepted that it was this, like, future, way in the future after Spider-Man died. I'm always down for the future, Batman Beyond kind of thing. If they would have done that with Miles, I think it would have gone over better with me than just trying to be this overt, outright thing where they want to kill a character I love so that somebody else can take over for him. If he would have been like the Batman Beyond of Spider-Man, I think I would have loved that, honestly. Especially if they would have done it whenever I was like 12 or 14. Yeah, he probably would be one of my favorite characters right now. There's a way to do these things and to get these things over, but the problem is a lot of the people who are in control of it are mean-spirited. They are trying to hurt somebody's feelings that they disagree with on purpose, and then whether you are that person or not, now we all have to fucking sit through it. We all have to go into the theater, whether we're guilty or not, and have our fingers wagged at us and be lectured at, and to have to hear a bunch of fucking political nagging for whatever side it's on. So, Warhammer 40K. There's a series in production at Amazon, which, you know, they made Rings of Power, which it just fucking sucks. I'm not going to talk about Rings of Power, but it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It fucking sucks. There's no defense of it. It sucks. But as I understand things, after everything fell through with WB for Henry Cavill, he was dating a very nice girl who worked at Amazon. She was maybe an executive high up or something like that. I don't know for sure. I don't know. But I think she ended up becoming his agent. And she helped him get a deal at Amazon to produce a Warhammer 40K series, or maybe movies, or cinematic universe. Who knows? Henry Cavill, fantastic actor. I have nothing but love for him, but I can never see him as Superman because of Zack Snyder's terrible writing and direction. He made Superman a terrible character that isn't anything like what Superman is. And people love Henry Cavill, which I completely understand. He's beautiful and he's charismatic and he's the perfect guy to play Superman, for sure. But Zack Snyder wrote a bunch of shitty, stupid movies that he had to star in, and it fucked him over. Henry Cavill's career was fucked over by Zack Snyder's incompetence. And there's just no other way to put it. So Henry Cavill bounced back, and he got this thing with Warhammer, which is his like true passion. All right. So if you don't know Warhammer, it's like a UK property. It's like one of the best things that the UK has ever culturally produced. And I know that sounds really fucking stupid considering Shakespeare and all that, but I'm just talking about in modern times, right? Like, let's ignore the history of like England and all their classical literature, and let's just talk about modern shit, like since the Beatles, okay? Warhammer 40K is probably one of the best things that they've ever like come up with, right? So it's natural that, you know, Henry Cavill, a Brit, a gentleman, would be in love with this nerdy hobby from the UK, where you paint a bunch of miniatures and roll a bunch of dice in a grim, dark, dystopian kind of future, way, way, way in the future. And the Warhammer 40K universe is cobbled together from Dune and all of the more like Baroque, sort of serious, gritty, grim sci-fi properties that exist. Judge Dredd, you could say, has an influence on Warhammer 40K, but definitely Dune. There's a lot of power armor. There's a lot of nightmare monsters. There's a lot of exotic aliens, and it's basically like a, I don't know, like a Catholic Arthurian drama in space. It's great. If you ever want to see what it looks like, I have a playlist of some games on my channel where I play Dawn of War, which is a real-time strategy game set in the Warhammer 40K universe. So Henry Cavill is sort of the guy in charge of that, and he loves it. So anytime somebody loves the thing that they're working on, this is my one requirement, really. Don't be ashamed and embarrassed of what you're working on. And don't try to make it into something else that it's not, Damon Lindelof. Henry Cavill loves Warhammer. So I have a lot of hope that whatever he makes in this upcoming Warhammer 40K series is going to be good. And people, it's been kind of like stalled for a long time, but some things have come out about it, right? There's been some leaks about what's going on, so we know it's still going on. The leaks came out that Henry Cavill has a very serious three strikes and you're out kind of rule for people not writing the universe as it's supposed to be. And if you start trying to stick shit into it that's not about it, you basically have to have like a meeting with him, and then he makes you read the lore so that you get the shit right. And you have been talked to, you have to read the stuff to prove that you know what he's talking about, and then you have to write something in line with that, and then on the third strike you're just out. So that gives me a lot of hope if that rumor is true. Good on you, Henry, for sticking to, because, you know, Henry Cavill also got screwed over on The Witcher. Somebody else with a political agenda took over The Witcher, and they de-emphasized his role, and they were going to basically try to take it away from him and give it to one of these minor characters. And he said, fuck that, I'm out. And they had to get somebody else to play The Witcher in the next season. So Henry's tired of being screwed, and he negotiated a deal where he has a lot of control, it sounds like. And just recently I read a statement, news from the president of Games Workshop, who is the company that owns and produces and strictly and tediously controls, to a fault, their brand. They're very strict on what they allow in their brand, and they don't allow their brand to be damaged. They came out and said, the president of that company came out and made a statement that Henry Cavill is still involved in the series, and that the series is still in production, and that they are doing their best to get it right, and that Amazon, not them, has put them under strict orders not to reveal plots or characters or anything that's going on. So the reason that you're not hearing about it is because Amazon made them say, you can't tell anybody anything about it. Don't reveal anything. Don't say anything. Don't tell people what it's about. So that's not on Games Workshop or Henry Cavill. That's Amazon's part in it. And that all seems to be good indications to me that it's still going on. It's still in production. It's still... Oh, you fucker. Okay, thanks. That guy did my job for me and cleaned up my mess. Yep. He got the kill, so I let him have the health. I think Warhammer's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be a movie or a series, or if they have a plan for movies and series. I don't know if it's going to be animated, but whatever it is, if Henry Cavill's in control the way that I think that he is, I'm sure it's going to be good. So I'm looking forward to that. G.I. Joe. I'm looking forward to Warhammer. I think there was one other thing that I came up with earlier, but I can't remember what it was. I've done so much ranting and raving during this stream, but this is my first day off, and that's kind of what it's for. Just to rant and rave. I have a few friends who watch from time to time, so if you're watching, then thank you. But I don't really expect to have a bunch of people watching. I think I have about 35 subscribers. Some of them might hate me. I don't know if they hate subscribed or if they're old friends who don't like me anymore. That's entirely possible. Sometimes exes would subscribe to help me out, so 3 cheers to you ladies. Thanks for the support. Despite my faults, still sub to my channel. Oh, this guy's breaking my friend's stuff. I'm lagging still, but yep, I'm just kind of using the game as a way to occupy myself while I discuss my takes, whether you think they're hot takes or not. It's honestly how I feel, and I try to be, sometimes I'm very mean-spirited in my arguments and comments because I just don't want to argue with people. I'm not trying to argue with people, and I don't care if you agree with me. I just want to say what I think, and that's kind of it. But in this stream where I was trying to talk about things I'm looking forward to, I try to be as honest as possible about my criticisms and the things that I don't like. And I try to be as charitable to those things as possible because I know there's some people that just like it. I get that, you know? If you're just a fan of things because it was the thing that you came up with and it was your introduction and it blew your little socks off and it made you a fan of Marvel or whatever, I get it. I get it. I was a fan in the 90s and all I heard were complaints about Spider-Man, but Scarlet Spider is one of my favorite characters of all time, and he's a 90s ass Spider-Man character. Maximum Carnage is one of my favorite storylines, and a lot of the characters from Maximum Carnage are 90s as hell, but I don't think that shit is like high art. It's just what I love because it's what I came up with. So I get it if you like that stuff. I'm not trying to hate on you for liking it. I feel like I had the best childhood of any possible generation in history just because of the people who were working and making art and animation and film. When I was a kid, I just feel like I got the best ever. And I want other people to have that. I want this generation to have that, and I feel like they don't. If we're just being 100% honest with ourselves, they don't have it as good as I did. So I hope it changes. I really want it to be good. I want it all to be good, especially DC. I like Marvel okay, but if it dies forever, then fucking who cares? I still have all the stuff that I like from it. But DC, I want to be good. I want it to be forever because it's the most American. And the whole genre superheroes is named after one character, and it's Superman. Superman is my favorite superhero of all time. I'm an unapologetic stand for Superman. I just always want to see him succeed. I want to see, to me, Superman is just the symbol of victory. He's like, oh shit, things are about to get good now because the good guys are going to fucking win now that Superman's here. That's how I feel about Superman, and that's what I want to feel when I watch a Superman movie. So I want DC to be good. Batman is probably the most important superhero to me after Superman because what's your excuse? Bruce Wayne made himself the most excellent man in the world to do what was right. So what's your excuse? So all right, let's see. Huh. Yeah, so Batman has no powers. And he hangs with the best heroes in the whole world, the Justice League. And he holds his own just through excellence. Batman is the lesson of Batman is that all you need to do the right thing is to just be excellent, do your best, achieve as much mastery as you can, and put it towards the purpose of doing the right thing. Right? And that's why Batman and Superman are the best team, the world's finest, as they're called. In that's their comic where they always team up, World's Finest. So anytime you hear that term, World's Finest, it's just a reference to the old classic team-up comic that, Batman and Superman were so popular, it just made sense for DC to put them together back in the day. And they had a comic called World's Finest, and it was team-up adventures with Batman and Superman. And so, to me, that's there's no team. You just need Batman and Superman, and there's nobody that can beat them. And I'm hard-headed and stupid and childish, and I'm not going to listen to reason, and I'm not going to argue who's stronger and shit about Jean Grey and the Silver Surfer and all this shit. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you, I think Batman and Superman together could beat anybody in the whole fucking comic book universe, and you don't even need the rest of the Justice League. So that's the hard-headed fanboying stance that I come from, and how much I love DC, and I want them to succeed, so I hope they do. What's on the horizon for DC now that James Gunn has become an abject failure? So DC is in the not DC, but WB, the company that owns DC, and all of the little subsidiaries that are affiliated with it, are in the process of being purchased by Larry Ellison by way of his influence in Paramount. I don't know what he is, if he's the president or if he has the biggest investment in Paramount or if he's propping them up or what. But Paramount is buying WB. And I don't know much about Larry Ellison, but I've heard people criticize him that he is a Zionist, if that matters to you. I don't care as long as he doesn't make it about his Zionism. Okay? So he can fucking believe whatever he wants. He can be whatever religion he wants. He can take money from whoever he wants. He can do whatever he wants as long as he doesn't ruin my fucking characters. I don't care. Okay? But if he's invested in making them good, then I'm all for him. I just want things to be good. And I don't know if he's going to make them good, but James Gunn's basically failed. He's going to get to come out with Man of Tomorrow, and it might be good. It might be good. I like some things about. I like David Cornsweet. I like Rachel Brosnahan. I think they're perfectly cast as Superman and Lois Lane, but if we're just being honest about Henry Cavill and saying that he was a great Superman who didn't get good writing, well, you got to hold that fire to James Gunn's foot as well. Because James Gunn made Superman's parents fucking Viltrumites. He made them space Nazis. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to throw the fucking L's under the bus like that. But he did because he's an edgy punk rock guy who has to make everything fucking weird and cool like a trauma film. Because he's always trying to make some fucking art school project to impress some girl that he was trying to fuck in college. That's everything that James Gunn makes is that, right? And I'm just sick of it. I don't want to see that shit anymore. I want somebody that knows and understands these characters and is going to make them inspirational and aspirational. Supergirl is not an aspirational character. She's a drunk, Courtney Love, lollipop in the hair, runny makeup, snotty bitch. And she sucks. I don't like her, and I remember a much better version of Supergirl in other things. I've purchased busts of Supergirl drawn by Adam Hughes as a fan. I like her. So it's not just like I'm a casual guy who's on this fucking bandwagon because it's fashionable to hate women or something like that. I just like Supergirl. I just like Supergirl, and this version of her sucks. So that's it. Like, please don't at me. She just sucks. She's not a good version of it. The girl from the TV show, fuck, I don't know what her name was, but from the CBS TV show that crossed over with The Flash, it's like Melissa Benoist or some shit like that. I'm sorry I don't remember your name, lady. But she was beautiful. I don't know if she was like a great Supergirl or how the writing was. She maybe had a bunch of stupid lines from like TV show writers because they're just notoriously like hacks. But she was beautiful. Her costume looked good. I would be down for her as Supergirl. I mean, they will never. Realistically, she will never be Supergirl in the movies because they don't want a TV actress to be in a movie. And that's how. If you like Grant Gustin from The Flash, you just need to accept that he's never going to be the Flash in the movies because Hollywood is prejudiced against TV actors, and they just want big names. They want to give all their friends hand jobs, and they want to have a bunch of big spooky names and rich famous people that prop up their status to be in these movies so that they can get a bunch of blackmail and favors on each other. And they don't care about having this guy that everybody loves, Grant Gustin or whatever. They don't give a fuck about him. If people think that he's like a good Flash or not, I think he's okay. But they see him as a TV actor. And same with Melissa Benoist or whatever her name is. She's lovely. But this other lady just... They didn't do her any favors. I think Millie Alcock can be very charming, and that she can be very beautiful when they try to make her look that way. Like, there's a lot of girls, they ugly up on purpose, and I don't understand why. I never thought Millie Alcock looked weird until I saw her in that Supergirl movie. I never thought she was ugly. I would have never joked about her appearance. But she looked funny in that movie, and they did that to her. They set her up to be in this position where she has to defend how she looks, because I think that they were afraid that the movie was going to suck, and they needed an excuse, and they needed something to blame it on, and it just feels shitty and stupid. I don't know if that's a dumb paranoid conspiracy theory, but she's beautiful, and I've seen her look pretty, and they didn't do her any favors, so why not? Why not? I just don't understand. Can you understand my confusion? I'm just trying to work this all out. Because another case of this is Uh, there's a thing with Dawn of War, right? Not Dawn of War, God of War. Kratos, he has a wife. Is played by Deborah Ann Woll, right? Deborah Ann Woll was Karen on the Daredevil shows. She's Karen Page. She's a beautiful woman. She's effortlessly charming. She was. She loves D&D, so she's a hot girl that loves D&D. Give me a fucking break. What a unicorn, right? And they put her in this Dawn of War game, not Dawn of War, God of War sequel about Kratos' wife, and they made her as fucking ugly as possible. So, like, why even base it on Deborah Ann Woll if you're gonna make her fucking look ugly? Why did you do that to a beautiful woman that you paid a premium to sell your game on? Like, for sure, God of War Laffy or whatever the fuck it's called was sold solely on Deborah Ann Woll and her beauty and her skill as an actress. So why take one of the most beautiful, skilled actresses working today and make her fucking ugly? Why did you do that? Are you afraid it wasn't going to be any good, or were you trying to own a chud or piss somebody off? Did you waste somebody's investment money trying to piss the fans off for some ulterior motive? Like, I don't understand. I just go to these things because that's what I've seen be the case before in the past, and I don't know if that's true or not, but that's where my paranoid conspiratorial mind goes to. I don't understand it. I think we're getting away from that. I think they're realizing that people want to see beautiful actors and actresses, and that they want to aspire to be beautiful like them. There's a lot of psychological and I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but there's like a need that you have fulfilled psychologically and in your soul when you have good models and images to live up to. It really gives you a kind of strength to carry on in a world no matter how difficult it is. And it's people having that makes the world better and keeps it from descending into being like a fucking miserable hell. So I know I'm melodramatic and that I place too much emphasis on cartoons and kids bullshit, but people need good things to fill them up. There's an old saying that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it holds true. You need a system that gives you values, and you need it to be based on something good and real and true. You need to aspire. You need to have something that gives you the fuel to forge through adversity and difficult, like, opponents, people who mean you harm, people who mean you ill. How do you interact with them? How do you deal with a world where those kind of people exist? You need things that give you models for working with those kind of things. And they need to be based on noble and upstanding values, because otherwise not everybody like apes what they see in entertainment, and by that I mean like not everybody goes out and does the things that they see in the movies, but some people do. Some do. There's like some strange weirdos out there in the world who will go and act out like horrible things, not understanding that like it's fake or you know. So in general, I'm not saying you get rid of those things. I'm not for censorship in any way, but most of the things that people consume, G for general audiences, should probably be something of substantial value that's giving them the strength to go forth into their lives and to be good people no matter how difficult it might be. That's the most important thing, to have like a general message of that in our culture. So I don't know if I'm just expecting too much. Forgive me if I'm expecting too much. Um, I could do some of my fan casting. Damn, we're 2 rounds into this. I can't just leave. So I have to try and win this one, but I definitely need a break to get a drink. And then I'll probably talk about some fan casting. How I would do things if I just had it my way. Burger King style. If I could just do whatever I want. If I had a magic wish, if they put me in charge. I do think there's a way things could be good, but I think the problem is there's a lack of will to see it done. There's a lot of hands in the pot, and a lot of people working on things for creative reasons are trying to get their little piece or their little thing in or their little writing credit. And if they have some kind of political agenda, that's usually what goes in. And they fight and bitch and cry to make sure it stays in there. And then instead of just being about what it's about, now it's about their shit. And we all just kind of have to roll our eyes and like, all right, I guess they had to put that in there, like we have to do that kind of shit and pretend like it's not some dumb fucking manipulation, somebody's manifesto, their soapbox, whatever. They're wasting our time to make us listen to that because it was their contribution in the creative process. So, shucks. I can't just lose because I need a break. Oh, this guy was a spy. Oof. He dead ringered me, I think. The dead ringer is when a spy drops a fake body and becomes invisible and runs away. This guy is cheating. See how he's looking at the sky in almost every direction at once? He's aimbotting. Yep. He was cheating. That guy was looking in every direction at once, and that's a telltale sign that somebody's using a script to aimbot. Aimbot is where you just automatically get headshots and they die in one shot, and there's nothing that really anybody can do about it. We gotta cap this. Sorry, I kind of went into a spaced out mode while I processed all that. I always try to want to do the right thing in terms of competition for sportsmanship. I never want to win by cheating. I always want to win by earning it. This is for nothing. This is just casuals, but it's always good to have good sportsmanship when you can. I think we're about to lose, which I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to lose so I can go get a drink, but I'm not gonna throw. So let's go get some health. That guy's as spy as me. I was gonna try to just draw some pressure back anyway. If they start seeing the control point is being capped, a lot of teams will fall back to defend it. And even if I die, maybe it puts a little bit of pressure, or I get one kill for myself. So I trade my life for one of their, lives, and then My team gets a little bit of pressure. They can move up because everybody ran backwards to get me while I was capping the point. So these guys are up here harassing them. I'm just going here. But there's a Guardian. He got me. He got me fair and square. We're getting some hits, but it's delayed due to lag. You can hear our damage sound comes way late. Somebody's capping, so I'm going to go back them up. Because that puts, yep, pressure. Now we got to go and get the next one quick as possible before they build up. Nope. I'm getting this one, and I'm worth 2. Come back and get me. God damn. Lag, help me. Lag did not help me. Spooky Main is dominating me now. Let's see. I'm being also dominated by Nuke. Sadly, I don't know. Do I have any dominations? No, I don't think so. I generally do not get them as scout. Once in a while, if I'm having a good game, but usually it's more of like a 1-for-1 trade my life for somebody else as a scout. It's kind of like a dueling play style. Picking off targets, coming in at oblique angles, just chunking people down and doing pop shot damage just to soften them up for other people to finish them with splash damage or afterburn. This guy's dominating me. That guy's dominating me. Shit! I'm lagged into the room. Sorry. I'm tarting out a little bit here. Oh, shit. Sorry, Pyro. I took your stuff. Oh! Yeah, he blew me up. It's the only thing that could do that much damage to me all at once, but somehow it didn't kill me. If this looks choppy to you, me too. I'm doing the best that I can with what I have, so thanks for bearing with me, especially if you have been watching for any length of time now. I thank you for just watching along and listening to me run my stupid mouth. Oof! Somebody got him. That guy's dominating me. No, no, no! Can't give him the satisfaction. Gotta get this HP. There we go. Shit, the sentry gun in the building got me. 4 fat blobfish controlling a PC. Okay. I can't argue against that. They got me. That's what killed me. This is me. Spy is me. Spy is me. I was trying to say spy me, but I fat fingered it and I had caps lock on and I didn't get it out. I said spy mister, and then I got shot through the head by a sniper. I try to warn people when I'm the spy. I don't know if that's good etiquette, but I feel like it's just neighborly. It's just a polite thing to do. If you see an enemy with your name and you can't kill them, just say spy me. Let them know you're the spy. I got 2 hits. I heard it. The damage sound played. That one was for 20. Ooh, he almost got me. He almost got me. He got me. That's why he's the legit assassin. Also the green dot MP3. So he's the legit assassin with the green. How could I ever think that I would have stopped that? The backshot monster is in control. I have complete confidence in his ability to get it done. Oh. Huh, huh, huh. When you're lagging, just fire wild. When you're lagging, just fire wild. I'm the spy, but that guy's on fire. I'm being dominated again. Bum, 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 bum. At least it wasn't that guy with the domination over me. See, we're finding the silver linings today, guys. If you're looking at the description in the video, even though I complained for 80% of the whole fucking video, we still tried to find a lot of good things that we were happy about and that we're looking forward to, and not just to be a naysayer all the time and to just say everything sucks. It's like 80% sucks, but there's like 20% of things that are really good, and there's been lots of times in history when only 20% of things were really good, and it's gotten better and it's gotten worse. Even if it's bad now, it can be good again, as long as there's a will to see it done in the people who actually own the intellectual properties and who have a vested interest in giving the fans, excuse me, giving the fans what they want. So you can see one of my problems with control points is that even though it says the match is 9 minutes long, that's deceptive. It goes on forever as long as people keep capturing points back and forth. And so if you can't close the game out, I'm going to starve to death waiting for this match to be over. All right, let's push. Oh. I'm in the middle of the scoreboard right here, but you can see, just based on the time that we've been playing, I've died 42 times. So I have a 1 to 2 death kill ratio, even though I have a lot of assists, if you want to count those. I did damage on people that maybe got, excuse me, damage on people that maybe got finished off. I have 4 caps, 2 defenses, 1 domination. I got somebody. And 2 revenges, so I killed 2 people that were dominating me. I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to hope that they're so nice, because I kicked the cheater, that they are not going to kick me for being idle. And I'm going to get a drink, and I'm going to come right back, hang tight for 1 minute. All right, thanks for being patient. Unfortunately, did not see how that match ends. I'll just have to watch the playback and see how it all shook out. Did we win? Did we lose? I was idle getting a drink. My bad. Seemed like it was going to go on forever, so I just had to risk taking a break because it was making it difficult to speak. All right, let's see. That was tough, and we spent a long time on there, so we're going to uncheck that. We're going to uncheck some of the ones that we've played just on the chance that we'll get a different map and we can see different things. I think we're going to do that as we go along. Have we played any King of the Hill? We played Kong King. I can't think of any other ones. So we're leaving them all. So for Marvel, what would I do if I had a magic lamp? Well, I think probably Jon Favreau needs to be in charge of the whole thing since he is a competent filmmaker when he is allowed to do what he wants. So he's the opposite of James Gunn. When you give James Gunn rules and you rope him in, he makes great movies. But when you interfere in Jon Favreau's shit, you fuck it all up because he's trying to do something specific and he's better at making movies than you are. So shut up with all your stupid changes and input and just let him make a good movie. So I think you put Jon Favreau in charge of the MCU. And we have to get rid of all these old people. It has to be like a hard reboot. We just need to start over. And they need to prove that they can do the classics well, no matter what they're making. Could you imagine a Captain America animated movie that had the production value of the original Beauty and the Beast animated movie? Disney as a studio used to do things like that. Could you imagine Star Wars as like a Disney animated movie? They can do that. Why don't they? Why don't they have like a feature length hand drawn animation style back in the glory days of all of these things? They're too busy taking the old animated shit that was really good and turning it into a shitty half-baked movie that's not as good as the original. So why should I care about it? It's not as good as the beautiful painstakingly crafted hand-drawn animation of, true artists from days of long ago. Like, it just doesn't compare. And it's like, well, you're out of ideas, so you're taking something that people remember fondly from how good it was, and you're making it shittier as like a nostalgia bait cash grab, I guess. I don't know. Moana just kind of suffered from this. A lot of people love Moana. The original, I mean, the animated movie. Never had any problems with Moana myself, just as a person. I liked her as a character. I liked Maui. I didn't watch the movie, but I never had a bad impression of Moana. Disney recently made something on it, basically because it's their most like watched thing on Disney Plus is Moana, I guess. The original Moana. So it didn't do well. It's not well received. I don't know if it's like something they released in a theater. If it is, it's bombing. If it's on Disney Plus, it's getting panned. I've I don't remember specifics, but I've only heard bad things about it. People are disappointed. The Lilo and Stitch movie, not that way though. I heard everyone loved it. I only heard good things about the Lilo and Stitch movie. Some people complained that it ruined the message about Ohanamin's family because instead of staying with the family, the girl like goes away because it's trying to have an empowering female message, but like the point of the original story is Nani didn't want to lose Lilo because they're family and because family actually means something. It's not just some bullshit you throw away so that you can go fuck Euro trash dudes in college. So that's the only complaint I heard, but made a shit ton of money. Everybody went to go see that Lilo and Stitch movie. So they're definitely counting that as a win. That remake of the animated, but I personally like the art and the message of the original animated movie. I like it better, and it's chalk it up to me. I'm just an animation fan my whole life. All I wanted to do was just watch more cartoons because I'm so amazed at somebody's ability to draw something and make it look like it's moving. My whole life. So I guess I can get overly like possessive of those kind of things. We lost on Nucleus. I like Nucleus though, so I'm not going to uncheck it yet. Maybe we can get a fair match on it. If I could fan cast anything, there's like kind of two versions. So it's like, what could we get in modern day that would be good? Like from what's available, right? So if I had my first pick of people, like just try to build like a pool of actors I think that would be good. Like Josh Hartnett, I still think is good. Um, who else? Alan Richson is a weird person, but he looks like a manly man. I believe him if he was like a superhero. If you told me he was a superhero, I would believe it. He's a strange person in his personal life. I'm not gonna say any bad things about him, but you can just look it up, look up stories about him if you're interested in knowing. But if he kept his shit out of the movie and he was a good actor and he followed the script and he didn't try to lecture me, I could see him being any superhero they wanted to cast him as. Be fine with him. He's got the look. The most important thing is to help me suspend my disbelief, to convince me that, I'm seeing something cool and good that's faithful to something I loved when I was young and something that gave me hope and strength and character. Then you can believe whatever you want. I got no problems with you whatsoever. I think the great thing about superheroes and characters, especially like Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, is the example that they set you can apply to your life every day. And it's just a fine way to live your life. With great power comes great responsibility. Do the right thing every chance that you can. Never let your lack of advantages be an excuse to not be excellent and do your best. That's the lesson of Batman. He's just a normal man and he can change the world even though he hangs with aliens and gods. Those are the values I want to see. Other DC characters, I like the Flash. Who would be good as the Flash? Hartnett kind of looks younger, but I feel like he needs to be an older character because he is an older dude. He's not a young babyface teen anymore, so just should cast him somebody close to his age. He might be okay for Hal Jordan. I could see him as like a suave older guy, charming Carol Ferris, and being a flyboy space ace. Maybe Hartnett would be good for that. Who else is still good right now? A lot of my favorite actors have aged out. They're old men or they're dead. So, like, I'm sick of seeing Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen because they're just so frail. Like, it feels like elder abuse at this point. Like, stop dragging them out to be in these movies. They look so sleepy and tired, like they just want to go home, but they need the millions of dollars for their grandchildren or whatever the fuck it is they're still doing all these movies for. I want some younger characters. I really want to reboot. I feel like there's a stank on all of the Disney Marvel stuff, so it would just be a hard reboot if I had my wishes. And you would need some A-list actors. You would need some good ones. I think there's a role. Look, I'm sick of Zendaya and everything, but I don't hate her as a person, and I don't begrudge her any of her success, but like, the studios don't know how to do anything except put Zendaya in a movie. She's in every goddamn thing. But I think I could cast her somewhere in one of the superhero universes, and I would be really happy with her somewhere, right? I could see her as Catwoman. Catwoman has been a sexy black woman lots of times in history. Most famously, Eartha Kitt. Everybody loves her. Nobody dislikes Eartha Kitt as Catwoman. She's beloved by everybody who's a fan. So it's not about her color. She was sexy. And I think there is a way. If she could just learn how to fucking act or something. I don't know what it is. She doesn't seem like she knows how to act, but she's a beautiful woman. And so maybe there's a way she could be like a funny, coy, sexy, always kind of got the upper hand, because that's kind of what Catwoman does to Batman. She kind of always has one up on him just a little bit, and then maybe when it really counts or when she's really in danger, Batman comes in and saves her life. But she's always kind of one step ahead of Batman in a sexy, flirty, charming kind of way. So I could see maybe her Zendaya as Catwoman. If you got to get her in there, the mandatory Zendaya. I don't want to see Pedro Pascal in anything ever again. I've seen enough movies with him in it. So we got to get him out of there. There's some people who are still around that I really like that I think that they should try to get. Like, I love Lucas Haas. I've always loved him since back in the day, since he was a child actor, and I saw him in The Righteous Gemstones, and he was really good. He played this kind of yokel cousin, and they betray the Gemstones, but being around them, they have a sense of family, and they really end up being good guys. They sort of come in and redeem themselves and become part of the family again at the end of the day. So Lucas Haas is still a good actor, and I think he's like one of those guys like Travolta who had a career and then sort of became obscure and then had a big comeback. I think you could rehab his career and have him be an interesting actor. He's still young enough. Who else would I like to see? He might even be a decent Doctor Strange. See him with a long mustache and that haircut. Really, like 90% of Doctor Strange is the mustache and the haircut. And then whatever kind of fucking clothes he's wearing or whatever. Kihei Kwan. I want to see more of him. Let's get him in some stuff. Can we all agree on Short Round? No Time for Love, Dr. Jones. Can we all agree that we need more Kihei Kwan? He was Data in the Goonies. We all loved him when he was a kid. And then he was in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And he was in another major movie, I think, that won some awards. That's 2 wins in a row for us while we're just sitting here bullshitting. So I call that a good day. I want to see more Kihei Kwan. I love him. And he's a good actor. He's proven that he can win awards. Let's put him in some movies. I want more beautiful people. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what country you come from. And I don't care what your political beliefs are. But if you're embodying these idealistic characters, I want more beautiful people. Okay? And don't pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. Sam Weaving has been cast as Emma Frost in the new X-Men whatever that Disney's doing. This is a rare moment where I'm going to praise Disney for a good decision. Good decision, Kevin Feige. Samara Weaving is a fantastic actress and she's beautiful. Ready or Not, a film that she made in 2018, is one of my favorite films of all time. If you've never seen it, please just go watch it. I promise you won't be disappointed. Sam Weaving's fantastic. She's beautiful. I wanted her to be the Invisible Woman, but she's not. And she's going to be White Queen. And I think of Sam Weaving as a sweeter, more motherly, and more maidenly type woman in the films that I've seen her in. But I'll be interesting to see if she could play a sex pot evil bitch, because that's what White Queen is. And I don't know if they're going to have the balls to make her that, but we'll see. I love Sam Weaving. I'm glad she's getting work. I'm looking forward. I'll probably go see that X-Men movie, even though I hate Disney and I don't want to give them any money. I'll probably go see that fucking stupid X-Men movie just to see Sam Weaving be White Queen. So you got me. Good job. And it's not hard to figure out, right? People have things that they want and they'll pay for, and they're valuable to all of us universally across the board. There's a bell curve of people, and most of the people in the middle where all these things we share in common. We have these values: beauty, excellence. We want to see examples of ourselves represented doing noble and good and excellent things. We want to see things, representatives of characters in ourselves that give us something to aspire to and to be our best selves in the moments that are the hardest. So I hope they do it, but I'm not holding my breath. So we'll leave it there. I've been streaming for a long time and I had a really good time. I try to be as positive as possible. I'm a hateful, mean, petty, spiteful, mean spirited person. So it was very difficult for me, but if you've been listening along, I try not to be a douchebag that you wouldn't want to be listening to the whole fucking time. So thank you. And I'll probably watch this back and just see how the stream went, because really I'm trying to do all this stuff. I would be playing Team Fortress anyway, but I need practice at running OBS and making sure I keep up to date on broadcasting and all these skills that I don't want to let degrade. I taught myself how to do all this stuff and I still want to use it for something, and so streaming games and talking to myself helps me practice that. So thanks for watching along.